Hi, people. I'm back. Been a long time. Been awfully busy. Glad to see you're still here watching. If you're still here watching. Uh, reason I've been away, like I said in some of my previous videos, I have a big project going on, and it's going to help me expose more on the foots than what people may think. It will probably give me national recognition, but I have to do this project, and it takes every bit of my time to do it. So that's why I've been doing videos. And I haven't even been able to get out to my house that often. But what I just watched on How to Hunt. I hope everybody knows who How to Hunt is. That's Steve Isdall, whatever his name is. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Uh, he just did a video. I believe the name of it is Indigenous, Indigenous Knowledge of the Sasquatch and a warning or something to that effect. But it's got to do with a lady named of Patty Rowe. She's from Lancaster, Ohio. I'm from right here in Ohio too, and I do have to look her up somehow. Anyway, Patty Rowe, she wrote him in a letter, an email. He took the whole show to read it. He thought that much of what she had put into the show. So I'm asking all of you out here, go to How to Hunt, go back through his files, find the video of indigenous knowledge of the Sasquatch, I think it is, something to that effect. And it's a warning. Okay, go watch that video, please. That lady has many things to say. I've never met her, but I know she's telling the truth. Everything she says is the truth. Her views are not exactly the same as mine, but there's reason for that. Uh, Many things this lady speaks of, I have been telling you people for a few years. I've been telling you what goes on. I know more yet than what has come out on this video or hers or anybody else's. I live with the Foots. They're in my life. I'm in their life. This lady will verify all this. And she verifies a lot of other things. A lot of it doesn't even sound real, but it's real. I live it. Like, I went to my house this weekend. Now, when I leave my house, I have an alarm. I set the alarm. But also on my front door, I have this strap. It's like a rope. They use it to pull wires through conduit and stuff. An 1,800-pound test pull on it. I take this rope, a piece about 4 foot long, and I wrap it around my outside screen door handle. I bring it through my door, then I shut my door and lock my deadbolt and lock my bottom bolt. Then I take this strap and pull it tight, and I wrap it around my doorknob a few times and do a square knot in it. So they're not going to have a hard time getting the screen door open, period. So this is religious with me. I do this every time I leave my house. I come home this weekend, rope's gone. It's not in my house anywhere. I had to cut a new piece to put it on there, but the rope is gone. This is the way the Foots tell me they've been there. I have to look for signs from them, from things they do. They don't always tell me everything. They just leave signs, let me know things. But I have motion detectors, the whole bit. Everything in my house is really, it's jacked up pretty good with security. And, well, that's because I was broken into one time before I had security, and since then it's all out. Lock them up and keep an eye on them. So that's what I do now. Part of that is, uh, well, I'll have to get into that later, but this is one way that they come in my house. They've they've given me gifts. They put rock. I showed you people the rocks they give me on. They put them on my counter while Sharon and me were both in the room practically. I was just out of the room. Sharon was in the room, and they put these rocks on my counter. without us knowing it. Sharon was wiping off this long counter, and as I'm coming in the room, she turned around, looked at me, and says, "What are you gonna do with them rocks?" I'm looking at her like, "What the hell are you talking about?" "Those rocks." I look, and there's two round stones sitting on the counter. I didn't put them there, and she just cleaned the counter. These were presents from the Foots. Dumbass me, I lost one at one of the events. I was showing them to people, and I thought I put it in my pocket, and my T-shirt was in the way, and I pulled it back out and lost it. I feel so bad over that; it's unreal. But that was a present from the Foots. They left me all kind of presents. I got nail clippers, little knives, manicure sets. I have two little manicure sets. They lay them on their Bigfoot box that's in my room, in my living room. I had a tin of candy with a Bigfoot shape, and they laid this stuff right on there. Nobody has a key to my house. Nobody can get into my house. Nobody knows my alarm. So this comes from the Foots. This lady will verify to you exactly what I've been trying to tell you. Please watch this video on how to hunt. For you new watchers, that's how to hunt's a big deal. He reads all the emails off from a lot of people who've had experiences with the Bigfoot. He read one of mine. You don't read no more of mine, so I quit sending them to him. And back when I wrote Steve my letter, I told him how I lived with one of my best friends and all that. Well, at that time back then, he hated them. He called them bastards and all kind of stuff way back then. He didn't like them. He said they scare people and they're no good. Well, he's kind of changed on that a little bit. And I like to think I got something to do with that, but I'm not going to try to toot my own whistle. But the bottom line of it is, I know how powerful his show is. And for him to be on the wrong side of the foots on that show is not good. Well, everything I do or say or have any thought of, my Foots know it. They know everything about me all the time. I don't have a problem with it. They're my best friends. The CIA pries into your life anyway. You can't win. But anyway, bottom line of it is, they showed me they were there, and this is what this woman talks about: how they can come in your home. They've abducted her from her house and take her out in the field in the middle of the night. Her father boarded the place all up, and they still get her out and put her in the field. But just watch that video. It's important. She talks about many things that I talk about. I talk about the fact that, in fact, when I meet a lot of people, I give people my card. I'm gonna show you. I got new cards, and I'm going to show that to you. Let me see if I can get it set it up in here and see. Can you see that? Wait a minute. Let me get down a little lower. Okay, there it is. See where I crossed out the Bigfoot, and it says the first people. These are my new cards. I've been a while getting those, by the way. But anyway, I got them. Anyway, uh, these cards are important. I go up and I meet people and say, "Hey, do you believe in a Bigfoot?" Well, some people, honest to God, I've passed out thousands of these cards. This is about my fourth. This makes my set of three, almost 3,500 cards I've passed out. This is my last set, and I give them out to a lot of people. And out of all the people I've gave them to, I've had 4 people say, "I don't want to be bothered with that. Go away." Okay, no problem. I've met a lot of people that say, "No, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in the Bigfoot." I said, "No, okay. Well, why do you ask me that?" Well, then I start telling them the story. And they say, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." I says, "I got a video. You want to see it?" They take the card. Once I can get people's interest and give them this card, they want to look. Whether they want to be able to call me a liar or whatever they want to do, I don't care, because my very first video, I'll take a polygraph test from anybody that challenges anything I got to say. Anything. As long as it's got to do with the Foots. My personal life, leave it alone. That's not good. But anyway, The bottom line of it is, this lady in Lancaster, Patty Rowe, she tells many of the same things that I tell. Uh, I'm not of any Indian heritage. They think that mainly that's Indian heritage that has the ability to do these things. I'm not. What I am, this is really, it's getting involved, but I'm gonna have to go through to it for you all to understand why I have what I have with the foots. I wrote out, I made a video once about getting a hold of Kawani Leporitis. He's wrote books about, I guess, about contact with aliens and other stuff. Pretty knowledgeable man, and didn't have any patience for me and my dumb ass when I called him, but I ended up getting his number, called him, and he answered the phone. Surprised me. I'm like, is this what I think? Yeah. And so we talked, and he's trying to talk, and I'm trying to talk, and he finally told me, "Are you going to listen or shut up? What are you going to do?" I was getting on his nerves. Sorry, but I was kind of excited to talk to him. But anyway, he told me a story of how he had grown up into this, what he does. And after I talked to him, I gave that a lot of thought. Uh, Not to be jumping around too much, but you've seen videos at my shop. Well, the lady next door to my shop, she's into a religion of, I don't know, she believes in Christ and everything. And she came up to me one day before I really knew her much well and said, "Do you know you have a gift?" Hmm. Okay, lady, I don't know what you're talking about, but she says you have a gift. So at that point, well, I can't tell you what I did, but it would make me look bad. So I'm not going to tell you, but I listened to her. And then I thought about it for a while. And I'm thinking, well, why else would the Foots be around me? Maybe there's something to what she says. So I don't know. Anyway, after talking to Kamani Lepridis, he's telling me about his situation of growing up and having what you would call a gift, being contacted with the aliens or whoever it was he's done. I don't know. I never read his books. I just know he was a popular guy and what he had believed in. So anyway, uh, I gave it all a lot of thought, and I had to go way back to my childhood. As a little boy, as a little boy, just one thing that stood out to me. I used to sleep upstairs above the dining room of our house, and there was a register for heat to come up. And my mom and dad would be down there and have people over, whatever, and I could hear them talking. And then I lay there and I'm trying to go to sleep. And all of a sudden, tell me if any of you have went through this, I don't know. All of a sudden, these thoughts that and all the noise I'm hearing is going, wong, wong, kind of a whining. They're just going on in my head like that. And I'm conscious to it, but I can't stop it. I don't know what's going on. So this was one of the things in my childhood, among other things. And as I think back, I used to know things were going to happen before they happened. Never thought nothing about it. That was all my normal. Okay, well, I never had dates on nothing, but it was just things that were going to happen. I just knew it was going to happen somehow. So I never pursued it, never thought nothing about it. My normal, big deal. My life's went on like that. It's kept me out of a lot of trouble, as a matter of fact, knowing where things are going to be and how they're going to be and what's happening. I got to avoid things. I used to be pretty good at that. Uh, One thing I did do, I did call some things out. I called out quite a few years ago. It's just these things just come out of my mouth. I have no control over them. This country is going to go lawless. I had my wife and one of my friends there when I said this. They don't think nothing of it because I do this big deal. But that's what I called out. I remember it because in my head, I'm like, where the hell did that come from? What did I say that for? But I said it. Well, guess what? The country went lawless years after that. I don't know that it's ever quit yet, but countries went lawless. Now, my most recent call out. Now, I'm making a statement now. First of all, let me tell you the one right now, okay? I called out what's going on right now. About 2 months after Donald Trump was in office, I'm over at my friend's house, and he's sitting there on his computer, and he lives to watch all the stuff political. So as I'm trying to walk out the door, he's telling me something going on. And I turned around and looked at him, and I said, here's what's going to happen. I started spitting things out. I don't even remember half of it. A lot of it I don't remember. His wife has refreshed my memory because she stood there and listened to it too. But Matt and Michelle, they're friends of mine, and I don't get enough spend enough time with them because I'm busy with a lot of things constantly. Anyway, I made a statement. I said, part of what I said was, the corrupt are going to be dealt with. The corruption will be gone when they are dealt with. There's going to be military tribunals. There will be executions. I have in my head, I mentioned it, I don't want to mention it on the video. One name was spit out of my head as a public execution. If it happens, I'll tell you. If it's the one, it will happen as a public execution. I will tell you. But the military will step in. There will be tribunals. All the corruption will be over with. We're going to get paychecks. I don't know what that means either, but so I said, we're going to get paychecks. Then I made a statement that 70% of Congress will be gone. Okay. And then I made a statement. This just call outs come out of my mouth. I called out the fact that they're going to use the RICO Act to get these people out of offices and get them in jail. Now, as I'm saying them words, my lifestyle that I've had in the past has kept me up to the fact of what the RICO Act is. It's a dangerous thing. You can be involved in a RICO Act and not even be a criminal. It's hard to explain all of it, but people can be drug in for a little minute act of nothing. It didn't mean anything. They can drag you in on a RICO Act. And as I'm spitting this out of my mouth, the RICO Act, my mind is telling me, what are you saying, stupid? That's for gangsters and bikers. They can't use that on the politicians. That's the thought I had as I'm speaking this out. I'm speaking this out and I don't know where it comes from. I understand what the RICO Act is. It didn't make sense to me, but it comes out of my mouth. And then there's other things I cannot remember. Michelle, she refreshed my memory on some of it. But this was a long thing. It come out of my mouth and I don't know where it comes from. So anyway, the bottom line of what I said, the final word was that when this is all over with, everything will be good. This tells me there's not going to be a war. Could be wrong. That's just my interpretation of everything will be good. War's not good, so I imagine there's not going to be a war. How long how good will last, I don't know. Nobody's ever told me nothing that was brought out of my mind or where it comes from. I don't know where it comes from. I think they call it precognition or something like that. I don't know. I can't control it. Things just come to me, come out of my mouth, come to my head, and I have no control over it. Like if you can ask me I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. If something comes into my head, I can tell you. If it sounds right to me. This thing just jumped out of my head without saying anything. It just jumped right at me so I could tell this to Matt. So anyway, like I said, the final word on it was, this will all be good when it's over. So went went a few days later, probably maybe about a month later. I come out of the shower and I'm walking through my living room. Sharon's sitting on a living room couch or someplace, and Donna, I think's in the room. And I'm walking along, and I just stopped and said, "Hey, we're going to be Canada." What the hell did that mean? I don't know. It's one of the things that jump out of my mouth that always ends up happening. I don't know what we're going to be Canada means. I have no idea. I'm thinking, are we going to war with Canada? Is Canada war with us? Or what's going to happen? I couldn't figure it out. I had no thoughts of Canada in my head at all forever. Didn't have any thoughts of Canada. And that just jumps out of my mouth. So I'm letting you people know, look forward to something coming from Canada. I don't know. But we'll see how that goes. Now, sometime in the future, I've already talked to Matt and Michelle about letting me do a video with them so they can verify what I have just told you. Uh, Verification of everything I say is what I look forward to. Patty Rowe, she verified many things that I've said. Uh, Steve, Steve kind of Steve kind of pisses me off. All he says is, "We want to hear from everybody. Everybody that knows anything, we want to hear from." He don't want to hear from me no more. I don't know if he thinks I'm a crackpot because I want to tell him what I want to do. What I put in the letter that I sent him was that me and the Foots are friends. I live with the Foots, and what's going on? I said, what I'm trying to do is, which was stupid on my part. They're not, well, not really. But my intent was, if I could let the video of me and the Foots go out, me and the Foots together, if I could do a video, us together, showing people that I will represent the Foots for whatever comes up. I wanted to take that video to Congress, and I wanted to show them, hey, look, these are my best friends. I'm here to represent them. I want them left alone. They will not bother nobody. I was working the terms out with them. But anyway, the bottom line of it was, they give me some answers, like it was affirmative that this was going to happen. Uh, they let me know who it was going to be with. It was going to be with Clyde. That's the one that was at my house for 16 months, about 18 months actually. Anyway, he was there, and that's who I ended up doing a video with. They let me know one way or another that's who it would be. I wanted Flower, the female. They didn't want that. They wanted Clyde, so they let me know later it was Clyde. But anyway, they never did confirm to let me go ahead with it. And I don't do nothing if it's not agreeable to them. I don't do it. Well, I get their thoughts in my head. They don't talk to me. They don't mind speak with me. My mind's not made for that. Sharon, they mind speak with. She's had a lot of conversations with the Foots, even though she thinks they've come from evil. They still have talked to her. Anyway, uh, it finally came to me why they wouldn't do it. Now, you might think this is funny, but it's a fact. They know more about us than you can imagine. They would not go to Congress with any kind of a deal because it was too damn corrupt. They wouldn't trust Congress. They wouldn't trust our government with nothing the way it is today. Excuse me. That's just Foots. Smarter than we are. A lot of people in this country have trusted our government, and boy, are they stupid. Just one of them things. But I don't get too much into about the government or nothing else because I like keeping this station and this channel. I don't want to get knocked off of it. But what I'm telling you is a fact. And like I said before, my first video, I'll take a polygraph from anybody who wants to challenge anything I got to say. So that's where I'm at with that today. Uh, Something more of interest. I don't know. Like I say, I can go back to my childhood and tell a lot of things, but those just are my new things. It tells something about the things I used to know and before they happened, and a lot of it had to do with my mom and dad. They didn't get along, and you know, mom ain't coming home from work tonight. She didn't. You know, I just knew. There's just things that you know. I went through a lot of it as a kid, and it wasn't all good, but I knew it. Uh, like I say, it's kept me out of a lot of trouble too. Uh, what else is there? Well, anyway, reason I'm doing this video is because of Patty Rowe. I want you to all watch that video. It's important to watch it. Steve took the whole show for her letter. So he found it important enough to listen to what she had to say. And she's saying the things that I've been saying on this channel for a long time. Steve don't want to hear nothing I got to say. You know, I don't know what the problem is. I wrote several letters and got no answers. And I don't know if he thinks I'm a crackpot because they're my best friends. Well, this is addressed by, you listen to what she says. She's on the negative side with them from me. It's like my first contact with them, they come to my house. They left signs all over my house that they was here, all around, rocks and little presents and all kind of stuff before they actually let me know, hey, we're outside here. So the first night I went outside, they were right outside my back door where it was covered with bush. And I did little chirps, little movements and stuff. And I look up and I'd see eye shine and say, hey guys, what are you doing? Things like that. I'm not scared of. I have no fear of things. This is one of the reasons they have came to me. I'm not afraid of them, so I'm not going to try to hurt them. This is important. You know, there's dogs out there that if they sense the fact that you're afraid of dogs, they will bite your ass. That's a dog's instinct. If you're afraid of them, you might hurt them. The foots are primarily on that basis. They're not worried about getting hurt. They just know that it's best not to mess with people that's going to be afraid of them. If you'll notice, a lot of videos you'll hear about people talking about going to the woods and running across the foots. Foots just wander off, get away from you. They don't mean you no harm. Just go away, leave me alone. That's basically what they got in mind. Steve talks on that video, by the way, of something, he thinks something big is going to happen because some changes are happening. This is what I've been telling people. It's called the resolve. As you see on this card, Bigfoot is crossed off first people. I put this out on one of my videos a while back. They don't want to be called Bigfoot. They don't want to be called Sasquatch. They want to be known for what they are. They're the first people. You know, they say, well, they're not animals, but they're not people. No, I'm afraid they are. They have intellect. Uh, they have emotions for each other. They have emotions about many things. It's all human. It's all human. I don't know how to really get that across to anybody. I had a female that liked me real well, was attached to me real well, that caused Sharon a lot of problems, just out of jealousy. Her name was Flower. She used to threaten Sharon, act like she was going to do harm to her and stuff. Now, I'm not the only one that's went through this. This happened before, which I just now heard. You guys might want to look this up. I just heard where a man married a Sasquatch. That's the way it was phrased to me. Now, I had that opportunity. I could take Flower on as a mate. But as I stated, the woman at the time was Robin Lynn. She's telepathic with them. I met her through Good Morning America. And I contacted Robin about a lot of things. We talked a lot. And then this problem came up where Sharon kept feeling like she was being threatened and so on and so forth. So I went to Robin. I said, Robin, what is going on with Flower? She says, I don't know, but I'll look into it. Okay. So I got back with her. I says, Robin, what's up? She says, well, Flower wants you for a mate. Okay. And she don't like Sharon, and this is not good. She said, I think it was down in Georgia. I could be wrong. I think she said Georgia. A man went through this and Bigfoot almost killed his wife over him. She got that corrected and straightened out. So I'm like, oh boy, you know. And the strange thing of it was now, I had an attachment to Flower. When I used to work, I get off home Friday night and I want to hurry home. I want to hurry home and see what Flower was doing. That's all. Just know she's around, know what's happening. There was an attachment there. Never touched her, seen her. I seen her once, but there was nothing there other than the fact that she let me know she was there, and there was an attachment. So that was good. It was kind of nice. But anyway, on that conversation with Robin, I said, Robin, guess what? How I can't live in her world. She can't live in my world. That can't work. I said, you're going to have to let her know that this won't physically possibly work. We can't live in each other's worlds. She says, yeah, you're right. And then she said also, says, they live up to 500 years, and you're not going to, and she will be without a mate. This is what Robin Lynn told me. Robin, I can't remember her last name, McGregor or something, I don't know. But anyway, she told me that they lived that long and that Flower would be without a mate because I'm going to pass. So anyway, she took that message back to Flower and talked to her and did whatever. I got back with her and I says, Robin, what did Flower have to say? I'm worried that it's a woman scorn and I got problems. That's the honest truth I was worried about. I figured Flower would be really pissed at me, and boy, my problems were just starting. So Robin got back with me and I talked to her. She says, I says, Robin, is Flower pissed at me? She says, no, she's not. I said, well, what did she say? She said she just shook her head no and kept saying no, 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 no. That's all she did. But she's not wasn't pissed at me. That was a relief. Anyway, at that point in time, I had the 3 Foots on my property, Clyde, Flower, and Fuzzy. They were always there. And as of that day, it's gone. They left. I didn't know where they went. Didn't know what it was about. Evidently, they had intentions of me and Flower hooking up and being together. And they were her overseers to make sure she was all right or whatever. Well, they all left when they found out it wouldn't work. They later came back. There's different times they come back. Altogether, I've had probably 30 or 40 of the Foots come through my property just to watch me go out at night and talk to them. A couple of them have given me their names. Let me think. I'm having a hard time remembering their names now, but there's about 3 of them that give me a name for them. And I'll probably think of it here in a few minutes and tell you. But anyway, I'm doing this all off the top of my head. I don't read nothing, write nothing. I'm just doing this all off the top of my head, out of memory. Anyhow, quite a few of them were there. That's how one came through named Quaw. Quaw is the one that Sharon had a lot of mind to speak with. A lot. Quaw's thing was she came through there with her group, seen me, and didn't want to leave. It wasn't the same thing as with Flower. What it was, she had a mate that was white, like this, my hair. And all she could say was, she told Sharon, I reminded her of her dead mate. Her mate was dead. Well, some months before this, I'm gonna have to look this up and show this to you as well. I got an email, or yeah, an email from one one of Robin Lynn's friends, Lisa, she sent me a newspaper clipping from back in the 1800s. They talked about a white Bigfoot terrorizing the area, and they found it dead under a tree. What become of that, I don't know. It was white. It was dead. Tree fell on it and killed it, I guess. I got that email months before I got Qual coming around. Somehow, things always line up to get you where you got to go so you understand everything and when it happens, I guess. Anyhow, I would imagine that was Qual's mate. Because, like I say, they live 500 years. Or more, maybe less, or more. But anyway, they're an intriguing type of people. You know, back in Bible days, we lived a long time too. There was a lot of Methuselah. He lived 900 years. Things have changed, but there's possibilities for anything. And my my abilities with the Foots, it's like the first night that the Foots came to my house and I went out and they're out there. I knew who they was. I could hear them talking from side to side across the hills over top my house. I knew that sound from a recording from one of the things that was on the History Channel where they record the sound of them. I said, that's Bigfoot. Well, next thing you know, my wife back then found a Bigfoot print and took pictures of it. I have it too. But anyway, all the signs were there that the Bigfoots were around. I knew it. I didn't worry about it. It was no big deal to me. Now, I had horses. I raised a couple of pigs. Had tons of dogs. None of my animals were touched ever. Uh, this on Patty Rowe's video, she talks about people that have had dogs that have had ruined and destroyed and all kind of stuff from the Bigfoot. I had a Rottweiler called Romeo, and he's a pretty good sized boy. Anyway, he wasn't afraid of much. Well, he was outside one night and he come up beating on the door, standing up, front paws, pow, 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 pow. I let him in. He runs through the house, gets there beside my bed in the corner, and don't come out of that corner for 2 days. After that, he's all right. The Foots respected me and mine. They made the dog go home. They didn't hurt him. He wasn't mind blowed or nothing like that. And they had respect for all my belongings. They've never taken anything from me. Only one thing I have been missing is some pots and pans that I think have been put back. They left rocks into my, you probably might find this on one of my videos. They left rocks inside my cabinet and took some pots and pans. They traded me. Well, eventually, the pots and pans ended up back in there. The rocks are still there, but the pots and pans are still, they're back in the cabinet. I don't understand it. They leave me presents. That's the only thing I know them to actually take. Uh, oh, this is a real good one. On my uh, coffee table in front of my couch, there's that Bigfoot tin that had candy in it. Well, I also have a container over here full of pistachios. I used to be bad about eating pistachios. Before we left one weekend, I just dumped out some new bag of pistachios into that pan. Now, I ate my pistachios. I threw the shells away. We come back the following weekend. Half my pistachios had been eaten, and the shells were right there in the container. I don't leave them in there. I couldn't tell you how them big boys do this with the pistachios, but it had been them that did it because nobody else can get in my house. So, like I said, there's all kind of little crazy things like that that have happened. I don't bother to tell you people about it because it's a mundane thing to me. But this is what I live with. And I just looked at them and I said, damn, they ate all my pistachios. They've never bothered them since. They figured I didn't like them doing it, so they didn't bother it no more. Now, here's where we come to a mutual agreement. The first night they were there, that I come out the door, I seen the eyes shine, I heard the sounds, and I started talking to them. And I let them know, guys, I know you're all out here. Just like I'm talking to you right now. This is how I talk to them. I know you're out here. You ain't got nothing to be afraid of. Nobody's going to bother you. I says, the bottom line of this is, This land is your land. We're just leasing it and living on it. And, which actually I own it, but that's our government form of taking the property. But to them, they own everything. They were the first people. Now, I've acknowledged to them, hey, do what you want here. Just leave my stuff alone. I'm happy. We come to an agreement. I acknowledge that they're the first people. This is all theirs. This is on our first encounter. Not my actually my first encounter, my first confrontation with them about being on my property, which is actually theirs. This is something people need to understand. If the Foots come to your property and they're not bothering anything, thank them for being there. They're letting you stay. They're letting you live on their property. Because as far as they're concerned, this whole world belongs to them. They were the first people here. Now, how I can verify that is, let's say I can't verify it, but I will take a polygraph on anything I'm going to tell you. Okay, we go down to Gatlinburg. I don't remember which place we went to. I think it was Lebanon. We went down to Lebanon, Tennessee to see Sharon's sister's grave, I think it was. Maybe she was still alive. We just went down and visited her. But anyway, on the way back, I'm following Mike, and Mike wanted to show me a couple places, I think in West Virginia or something, I don't know, on the way back. And one of them was the Big Bone Lick. He says, I'm going to show you the Big Bone Lick. I'm thinking, what the hell's a Big Bone Lick? Like, I want to go home. I was tired. Been driving. So we go down there, and it's a dinosaur pit that they made a museum out of. Okay. So Sharon wasn't feeling good. She went. She sat on a bench, and we were by the dinosaur pit and sit down. And then a few minutes later, I went inside the museum, looked around, seen what all they had, and talked to them in there. Went outside. I walked over to the pit, put my arms on the bar, and sitting there, kind of letting my mind drift. And all of a sudden, they're talking to me. They're telling me things. What they're telling me is, let me interrupt that thought. Let me interrupt that thought. Years ago, on the History Channel, Ancient Aliens, they talked about finding gold mines thousands of feet deep, thousands of years old. Now, when they announced that, I'm thinking, man, a Foots must have been in labor. That just popped off the top of my head. Foots must have been in labor. So, anyway, now I'm back to the dinosaur pit. I'm sitting there and I'm looking in that pit and just kind of watching, looking at the dinosaur bone stuff going on in there, They started talking to me, and they said, this is why we were here. We were brought here by aliens. They called them aliens. We were brought here by aliens. They came here to get the gold. The gold is used to protect their environment or something. I don't know what that means. But the Foots were with them. What the Foots came for was to protect the aliens while they mined the gold from the dinosaurs. This is what they put into my head. Polygraph me. I'm not making this up. This is what they put in my head. Nobody else is going to tell you that. Nobody knows that. They told me that. That was their intentions of having them here. Then they end up staying and whatever, but they were all here under control, more or less, of the aliens. This goes back to other things that I've said back in my other videos. Uh, there's two kinds of, not two kinds, let's say there's two different Bigfoot that have alliances with themselves and with also the aliens. Some of the Foots are still having an alliance with the aliens. Then you have the rebellious ones that have broke away from the aliens that are out here wanting to be free. Those are my friends. The ones you hear about being bad ones are the ones orientated to the aliens. Now, if you look up all the stuff on History Channel and YouTube and all those things, you will find out somewhere we have a connection with the aliens. Our government has a connection with the aliens. Eisenhower made a deal with them. There's been a lot of other things done. I don't know all of it. I can just tell you I've seen it, heard it, and I'm not making note of it because it didn't concern me directly. Uh, but what does concern me is the fact that the alien orientated Bigfoots do not like me. They don't like anybody that associates with the rebellious first people. They are the first people, but they're rebellious of the aliens. They want away. They want their freedom. They don't want control. They just want to be left alone. And that's what you'll see when you see them out in the world. You know, you go someplace, there's people go out here and they tell their stories. Well, I seen one here and he was only about 10 feet from me and he wandered off. And this, hear all these stories. Believe me, if he wanted to hurt you, your ass had been grass and you never even knew what hit you. They have more powers than you can imagine. They have the, and old Patty Rowe, she will tell you, they can cloak themselves. You don't have to see them, they'd be there. I tell people, when I hand people this card, I tell them, I says, you won't believe the powers that they have. I says, here's your card, watch the videos. I could have one standing here right now and you would not know it. I wouldn't know it. Now, Patty Rose says there's things that they can indicate that you'll know they're around. You can feel when they're around. Me, I have a thing that goes on in my head. When they're around me anywhere, it's like crickets out in the field, a whole field of crickets out there. It's that kind of a sound in a distance. I know they're around. Every time I go to my shop, you see my shop on the video somewhere. I go to my shop, they're in my shop. Sometimes they're not. That's not very often, but usually they're in my shop. I don't know if that's a place, a safe haven for them or whatever it is, but they're there. They let me know. I talk to them. Hey, how you doing? This, that, and the other. And then the crickets quiet down a little bit. But I'm the only one in my shop. It's not a place for the public. No, my family, friends, nobody goes in there but me. I got one buddy named Duke. He stops in, but that's rare occasions. And I have left I have left the foots off of some people's houses before. Johnny took my buddy Johnny. He took some of the foots home with him when he went back to Reynoldsburg. He has them on his property. They make noise. They let him know that they're there. They like Johnny, so they hang out with him. They pick certain people. Uh, my sister passed away here. It was a family I grew up with. She passed away, and I had been to her house. She lived down in Zanesville. I'd been to her house, and this is when the Foots were really involved with me. And I went out and talked to her, spent a little time with her, and I left. Come back some weeks later. She says, I get the weirdest feeling. There's somebody watching me all the time. Really? I didn't know I was taking them places and dropping them off. That's what I'd done at Jackie's house. And I tried to explain to her, Jackie, don't be alarmed by that. Her brother Billy, they're twins. Billy knew about me and the Foots. He probably never told the family or nothing. A large family. Anyway, I said, Jackie, don't be alarmed. I says, I think those are the things that I deal with. And she says, what? She says, make them go away. She was petrified. She wanted me to make them go away. And I says, I'll do what I can do. I don't know. I didn't tell them to come here. But she was afraid of it. She realized there was something by her, something watching her. And this is things that goes on. I've left them a lot of places. Uh, I don't intend to do it. They go places. They're with me everywhere I go. Patty Rowe explains all that. How that once they're in your life, they're not leaving. I myself do not have a problem with it. I don't have that fear factor that everybody else has. I'm kind of stupid like that. I've done amazingly stupid things as a kid and even as an adult. Done things were stupid I should never have done. Uh, Never been afraid of anybody or anything. I mean, I'd be fighting with two or three guys at a time. Be find the biggest one in the crowd that didn't have something going on. I'd be with him, and it didn't matter. I had no fear, and that's the thing. I think the Foots recognized that we don't have to worry about him. You know, uh, when people are afraid of him, people I know that I do know that have dealt with them, they don't have fear of them. They might be afraid of other things, but they don't have fear of the Foots. They might have a normal fear ability. Mine's not normal because I've done this all my life. But the bottom line of it is, uh, that's got a lot to do with whether they're going to be around you or not. They don't. No. Patty Rose says they take over your life. They take anything you want, do whatever they want. I don't have that. They protect me. They watch over my stuff. My property is pretty well protected. Other than my burglar alarm, I do have that, but I don't think anybody's going to get much off down there. They'll lose the whole idea of wanting to come on the property. If my Foots are on the job, people won't want to come out there. They detour them. They have a way of detouring a lot of things. That's part of their stuff with the dinosaurs. They can detour the dinosaurs from being where they want to be to go someplace else. They can throw a rock like a cannonball. They have that power. They have the power of the mind to control things and do things. Uh, Only thing they want from me, which I don't have a problem with, they want me to put this out to people so they know what they're about. Now, Steve has talked about on his show about he sees something big coming. Something big is coming. I told you before, it's the resolve, what I call the resolve. And it's the fact that Foots want to come out to the public. You ever been to Gatlinburg, Tennessee? If you go out there, you'll watch bears. There's more stray bears in Gatlinburg than there is stray dogs. I hadn't been in Gatlinburg 10 minutes. Me and Sharon were in line to get our wristband to go to the conference. A whole bunch of people in line, and just right beside of us. I got reached out and touched him. Big black bear walked right past us like we wasn't nothing, was working up the top. He was looking to go back into the building, but the big crowd was, sorry, the big crowd was right there, so he couldn't. So he just kind of turned around and went on back into the woods. He walks right past people. There's a lot of bears in Gatlinburg. When they become annoying, the sheriff's department will come take them out. They take them, dispense them someplace else. They don't hurt them, but they do remove them. Not all the bears are a problem. They had one that used to go behind one of the motels. I don't remember the name of the motel, but he, like clockwork, would hit a dumpster. Like clockwork, every night around 7 o'clock or something like that. He'd be in that dumpster. So my buddy stayed at that motel, and he told me about Jack Quinn. He stayed there, and he told me about it. I said, hey, I got to go see this. And I never got to get over there at the right time. But anyway, I watched them getting dumpsters across the street from our motel where I was staying at the Black Bear Suites. Uh, we watched them out in the street, a couple of them different times, and they go around getting dumpsters and whatever. It's just more stray bears than stray dogs. The Foots want this ability. They want to be left alone. They they don't want to come and run the streets of Columbus and terrify people. They just want to be, if they're out somewhere, a lake, whatever, Don't bother them. Don't make a big mess of it. Just let them go out their way like you'd see a big bear out there or something. They won't bother you unless you're talking about the alien-oriented ones. I don't know how to distinguish the two. I don't know which ones are what, but I do know my friends are my friends. They don't bother people. Uh, for the most part, when people run across the Bigfoot, he runs off. He runs off. And if you got a Bigfoot out there that is alien-oriented and he wants your ass, you're not going to know it. You won't hear him moving, see him, or nothing. You'll be had. That's a fact. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about something else that I don't know a lot about, maybe more than most, but I don't know a lot about it. And that's the dog man. The dog man, I've not met yet, but he's been to my house, left signs of things that the dog man was there. Jack Quinn is how I got dealing with him over that because Jack's pretty much an expert about the dog man. Jack sent Steve a letter telling him where he was at. There was about 7 of them out there on the property and so on and so forth. He didn't send him a description. He didn't, it's like me. I don't watch these Bigfoot shows. I mean, there's nothing they're going to tell me. I can hear a lot of it. I know some of the true, rest of it's a lot of their speculation. Some of them are way off base. Uh, like I said, I know they're separated. The rebellious ones and the alien-oriented ones. Like on Steve's show, he talks about they're always around atomic energy places and military bases and stuff like that. Those are the alien-oriented ones. They're oriented with the aliens, not my friends. My friends don't mess with stuff. These do. They're separate. There's a separate deal altogether. I'm not being able to put my finger on exactly what all they have in mind, which is not my job anyway. I just know who my friends are and what my friends are. That's all I worry about. But the ones that are involved with looking up the atomic energy places and stuff like that, I don't really give it too much concern. You have to watch all these shows about aliens. You hear about the things they've done. They've shut down missile silos. They've shut down. They've had aliens all around the White House years ago and all this stuff. And you have to watch all that because I do know that's not all made up either. People used to talk about a Bigfoot being a big joke. No, Bigfoot ain't no joke. Another breed. Now, I've said this before, and I don't know who's watched this or any of my past videos. I had a portal at my house. At my house, where the portal was, so far at my house, I've had the Bigfoot, I've had the Mothman, I've had the Dogman in my house, which I've never talked much to the Dogman. I didn't talk at all to the Mothman. There's a story behind that. Sharon seen him and dealt with him, but down the road from me, about 3 or 4 miles, a place called Saltillo. Well, on my property, I just brought in 2 overseas containers to put my machine shops in and stuff from down there at the house. Well, I put electricity into one, so I asked 2 electricians there, which I ask everybody, "Hey man, you guys ever think about Bigfoot down here?" Yeah, one guy just blowed off. Says, "No, man, that's all bullshit." Okay. So the other one says, "Oh yeah, you remember the guy down there in Saltillo?" "Oh yeah, I remember all that stuff," he said. "Yeah." And the guy, he told me where it was at, how to find it. So I made a beeline for it the next day. So I go over there. I didn't get there till late afternoon. And I says, "Are you the guy that sees the Bigfoot down there?" He says, and he was all upset. He says, "Yeah, I see him." And then another thing too. I was, "What?" He'd had I talked to his daughter later, and she explained to me a lot of it. But the Bigfoot used to come down his back gate and shake the fence and all that because there's woods all back behind him. They'd shake the fence and hang around, just let him know he was there. But one night, this thing came through his yard, his front yard, about my height, with a big, huge head, great big teeth hanging out of it. Walked up to him in his front porch and growled at him. Anyway, that next night, I was there wanting to talk to him. When I pulled up, what do you want to buy? It's all for sale. Anything cheap, cheap. Hey, well, give me $1 for this. Whatever. I said, wait a minute, Mister. I just want to talk to you about your Bigfoot things and what's going on. He says, no, I'm leaving. So I got a little bit out of him about it. So I said, I'll be back. So I went back the next day. He left all his belongings, house, everything. And a year or so later, they come. I guess it would be they repossessed the house because it was gone. Foundation stuff still there, but he left everything there and left. Whatever this critter was he seen came through a portal. Now, the Foots didn't scare him, but this thing did. So I don't know, he went down to Kentucky or West Virginia or someplace. His daughter told me about it. But anyway, I don't know his name or her name or nothing. Now she still lives down there, I believe. It's not far, right there, right by where he was at. Her husband, he'd experienced a few things with the Foots too. He used to hear her husband be out in the field and he'd hear growling going around him. And it was close, but he couldn't see nothing. It's because they cloaked themselves. But they was messing with him. That's what they do to entertain themselves, is mess with people. So anyway, uh, I never did hear from him. His daughter did confirm everything he was saying. So, okay. Well, the only thing I could imagine was that little critter has come out of my portal because I'm not that far away. I don't think there's any more portals close by. They wouldn't have that many close by. Now, one time we come home, we came home from Columbus, and no, matter of fact, I think we was in Zanesville, and we come home from Zanesville and drove up the driveway, and there was this little critter running around the yard. He was about 3.5 feet tall, something like that. Looked like a one-winged chicken. Funniest thing I ever saw. I pulled up, threw it up in the car door, and I went chasing. I said, I'm going to catch this little sucker. I don't know what the hell it is, but I'm going to catch it. I chased that thing around the yard, and it ran over, got to where the portal was at somewhere, and gone. No more finding. If he'd been any place around anywhere, I would have found him. He just disappeared. That was a critter from out of the portal, didn't belong here, and come through the portal somehow. And I think the other critter was as well. Now, whatever else comes through there, I don't know. Well, first of all, portal has been moved. It's not at my house anymore. Come on and let's Sporitis. He explained to me they moved the portals. They can do what they want with them. If he moves and goes somewhere, the portal will around him somewhere. So I was privileged to have that for a while. It might still be on my property. I don't know. Uh, there was a thing that I'm trying to think. Uh, there's a lot of signs left by them. Different things. Well, I'm gonna cut this off for now, and I'll get back with you. This is just kind of part one of a long story. Everybody wanted me to write a book. I'll bring the book out and I'll flip you through the pages. I started to write a book, got about 50 pages done of it. Man, I just can't do this. It just ain't. And after I got thinking about it, anybody gonna publish no book for me, and I ain't got the money to have it done. So I give you the story here. It's the best I can do. This will be like part one, and try to explain a lot of it to you. Like I say, a lot of it goes back to my childhood and my abilities that I have that I don't even know I have. I haven't had any call outs lately. The last thing I called out was, we're going to be Canada. No idea what that meant. Look forward to it. You hear something crazy going on between us and Canada, that's what it was about. Uh, I will tell you something though that Sharon has an ability to do. Our first trip down to Garden City by Myrtle Beach, we had a floor on the 15th floor of the building. Sharon didn't want to go. She had a dream that the building fell down, split in half. She could see people hanging, all kind of stuff. She could see this. The building just fell down, split in half or something. She didn't want to go. Well, she overcome it and we went. That week, that big, huge 15-story building in Florida fell apart. Was that a premonition? I don't know. But it was awful weird to come up almost the same identical time. It wasn't our building, but it was another one. So that's one of them things that goes on with Sharon. She does things like that as well. So I don't know. It's a crazy world and we live in it, and my world's a little crazier than most. Anyway, like I say, Steve, he needs to listen to more people, and he blows some people off that he shouldn't. I don't have a degree. I'm not a PhD. I don't have nothing. I got a GED from high school. Big deal. But I have a lot on my mind that most people will never have. I know a lot that a lot of people will never know. I've experienced a lot that other people will never experience. Like I said, I had a wild life, and it's wilder than. I had people want to write a book about me one time, and I was like, "Can I make some money off of it?" No, just my ass. You ain't gonna get no story out of me. But it's a fact. I lived some crazy stuff. Uh, don't nobody out there owe me no bad turns, because I ain't left nobody no bad turns. Anything that if I've ever done anything to anybody, they begged for it. It was something they begged for. I don't pick on people. It's not my thing. Uh, it all comes back on you. I'm aware of this. I don't have to watch my back for nothing. Uh, but yeah, I got a few debts out there that I actually owe people, and I need to take care of, and I didn't. I let it slide. I'm a nice guy. But that's just all another story. But everything I'm telling you about the Foots and me, and I ain't uttering one fib nowhere about nothing. I'm not exaggerating nothing. I'm telling you exactly the way it is. It's like everything else. You go around telling a bunch of lies, that's gonna come back on you. My thing was, if you lie to people and you get caught, you're an asshole. I'm not gonna be in that position. So anyway, I'm glad you're all here to watch. Hit the like button and the share button and all the other stuff that you want to do to get this thing going. Because I'm trying to tie it all. I'm going back and forth here on things. Things have to come to my mind. Certain things bring more things out as I'm talking. So this video I had to bring out over the fact of Patty Rowe wrote that email, and Steve read it. He won't read mine. He read the one, and that was it. I told him about I want to go to Congress and get him protected. Well, good luck with that, is what he had to say. Well, it didn't work out because the Foots didn't want to deal with Congress. They're smarter than that, smarter than I was. So they know more than you can ever imagine. I don't know how much information I get from them. Stuff. It's not my call outs, but I do get things that I don't know. Maybe they do give me things to think about. I don't know. But they're my best friends, and I try to be theirs. It's on my headstone. My headstones are in Green Lawn Cemetery. Bigfoot was my best friend, and I was theirs. It's right on my headstone. So hopefully I won't have to be under it for a while, but I'm prepared. That's where I'm going. Find my uncle. I got an uncle over there. The whole family's there, as a matter of fact. But that's another story in itself. Anyway, if you like this, let me know. Like I said, this is my new card. No more Bigfoot, no more Sasquatch. First people. I have a hard time breaking myself of that habit, but I'm getting there. The more of you I can train into the fact that they are the first people. So much of this is going to come out that you're not going to believe what is going to come out. And it's getting close. That's what I was going to say. Steve said something's coming up, something big's coming. Okay, these guys wanted me to put this issue out right here. They're the first people. I've known this for a long time, but they made an issue of it a few months back. And I almost lost sleep over it. How am I going to tell people this? But I brought it out. They want to be known as the first people, and that's it. Why all of a sudden? Because of the resolve. They're going to come out. They will come out. If you watch Steve's show, more and more and more and more people, Steve's admitting to it. More and more people are coming out with this. And it is a resolve, and hopefully it's all going to go good. Because the bottom line of it is, a war with them, we would lose. Oh, one more thing I want to bring up about the Nephilim. Here, a lot of people call these things Nephilim. They're not Nephilim. Military over in Iraq back in, I think, 2000 killed a Nephilim. Look it up. Look it up on your YouTube or whatever. 6 fingers, 6 toes, 2 rows of teeth, red hair, big, huge thing. Killed some soldiers. And other soldiers give it up what they've seen and what was there. He's not the only one. There's more of them over there. Those are Nephilim. Those are spoke of in the Bible. Those are things that lived here in biblical times. You don't hear the Bigfoot talked about in biblical times. Sharon's looked and looked and looked and can't find nothing. So, anyway, these are not Nephilim. I've had preachers I've talked to that's not Nephilim. But the Nephilim are real, have been dealt with. Now, how many more will be dealt with? I don't know, because they can kill them. Nephilim can be killed. Back when biblical times, they couldn't nothing touch them. They didn't have the military might we have today that will take one of these big guys out. They killed this one. Took a bunch of our men to do it. We lost a few men, but it took a few of them to kill him and get him out. They shipped him off in a helicopter. Nobody knows where they went. But they did get him. And now they're aware of the fact that they can be got, so they're not doing whatever they used to do to harass people. Some of the people here in Iraq knew about them, I guess. I don't know. I'm doing a little bit of speculating, but that's just common sense from what things I've known going on. So, anyway, that was another thing I wanted to bring up. And I thank you very much for watching and sticking with me. Tell your friends about all this. This is important. My job with the Foots. They want something from everybody. They say, well, this is what they want from me. And I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing this for you. I want you all to know what you're having to deal with if you're on the bad side of them. You ain't going to like that part. But it's so easy to be on the good side of them. Just treat them like a good neighbor. Just treat them like a good neighbor, and good things will happen to you, more or less. A lot less bad will happen to you. How to deal with them, I don't know. If you want to exterminate all of them, I couldn't tell you how to go about doing it. I mean, they can vanish in front of you. They can go to another plane. They can do whatever they want to do. How do you deal with that? I don't know. CIA back in the 60s captured one. At least they said they captured it. If he didn't want captured, he wasn't getting captured. They took him to a room. No escape room. Had cameras on him. Poof! He turned into a ball of light. Was gone. I got that information way back in the 70s. And I said, well, that's crazy. No, that was information that come out of CIA that a guy up on campus young campus intellect up there got all this stuff together and showed it to me. So CIA's had a lot of knowledge of these for a long time, and I'm looking into the dog man as best I can because they have come to my house. They have let me know they want to befriend me. And I think that's because the Foots have put them there, because the Foots know I want to know who they are and what they're about. I got to give that some time. I'm not in any hurry. But if it goes anything like with the Foots, I'll know who the dog men are and where they come from, which that might get me exterminated by the CIA. I don't know. You know, with everything I do, I never know one day or the next. It's like I'm talking too much about the Foots and giving too much up. I don't know. All I know is I'm doing what I got to do. And I hope you guys appreciate it, and I hope you all pay heed to what I'm saying. So I'm gonna get off here for now. Try to get this thing punched out and send it out to you. And like I say, subscribe and hit the like buttons and all that stuff you're supposed to do. I never hardly tell anybody that, but yeah, do all that. That helps this channel get bigger, I guess. So thank you very much. See you later. Bye.